Hey everybody, welcome to another college conversation. I'm Harlan Cohn, and tonight I am with students from ICC, and I'm so excited to get to know them and for you to get to know them and to learn about the school and their experiences and their dreams. We've got Devin, Abby, Jonathan, Carrie, and Danera. Hey, I'm really curious, Abby. It's great to have you here, and I know you came here with a big dream. Like you've got big dreams, right, Abby?
Yes.
I'm putting you on the spot. You didn't know I was going to ask you about your dreams, or
No.
maybe you did. Well, what is your, let's just go right into it because, you seem like you're on a mission, right? Like you are on a mission. Is that true?
Yes.
Right. Like you're intense, right?
Oh yeah.
I get the sense you got a lot of good energy and I love that. What's your dream?
My dream would be to be like a special education teacher on the side, but also do an active military full time too. But I know that's impossible. So I'm trying to figure out which one to do.
So your dream is to either be active in the military or to work full-time in special ed?
Yes.
Interesting. So why can't you do both?
I mean, you can't juggle both of them. You either have to pick the active military because that's a Monday through Friday job, or you have to pick the teacher job because again, that's a Monday through Friday. So kind of on the edge on which one I should pick, but
Well, I've been doing a lot of these conversations, and if you're to look back at some of these, I could even share. There's this one person who was in the military, and then after she was in the military, did something else. So did like 10 years, serving for 10 years, and then did something else, or even serving the military in a division where you can start to nurture some of those skills. Like, I wonder if you could be in the military and work in some capacity helping with the kids of those people on bases. Is that a possibility?
I've thought about that. I haven't really reached out to get more on that, but it definitely has been a thought.
Yeah, because I'm like, whatever your dreams, like just live them all. Like, why not?
Right.
I choose, right? Like
Right.
10 years do one dream, 10 years do the next dream, 10 years do another dream. Because it's like
Oh
you get
yeah.
you get to do everything, which is exciting, Abby.
Yeah.
Um, Devin, do you have a dream?
I think dreams change a lot, during the times that you live. But I think right now my dream is probably be my own boss, honestly.
That sounds amazing. And what would you be telling you to do? What would that, career be, that dream job where you're your own boss?
I don't know. I honestly, I'm thinking about a store, maybe. But I mean, that's an idea. But I just want to create a space where people can be themselves, kind of a little bit, get away from things, and I don't know, just not feel out of place, somewhere they could feel comfortable. So a store kind of sounds good to me when it comes to that.
What kind of store?
Uh, that's the part. I mean, that's one of the things you got to think about, kind of.
Like a
But I
coffee
mean,
shop or like a store, like a convenience store or like
it could go many different routes. You just kind of got to blueprint, map it out a little bit, and just see where it takes you. But I mean, I think it's very possible if I just, do it correctly. So it's not exactly what I don't know. I don't know what to call it yet, but I got an idea. So
that's interesting. One of the things also when I do these, when people share their dreams and ideas, there could be someone out there who's like, man, I love that. Like, I'd want to do that. I'd want to be a part of that. Or that's fascinating. Or somebody who's already doing it and can reach out to you and be like, hey, Devin, I'm doing this. I'm already doing it. If you need any answers, let me know. So if you have more specifics on this, like, I don't know if you're still formulating it or you don't want to put it out into the world.
it could be both, maybe.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's scary to put that out there, and I appreciate that. And like I was saying before, I want to respect boundaries. But if later on you want to share your dream, your vision, because I know you're a creative, passionate individual,
Yeah,
I'd love to listen. I'd love to hear about it.
I
Uh,
got you with that, man.
yeah, it's great. Because I believe everybody can get to where they want to go, but the hardest thing is sharing it and putting it out there. Because once you do that, people are either going to like what you're saying or not. And if they don't, then it's painful because you got to
But
convince people.
as a graphic designer, I mean, getting critiqued that's nothing. That comes with the job. We got to get
rejection.
critiqued. Oh yeah, you got to get rejected 50 million times until you get a good piece out of it.
That's hard. It's hard to deal with rejection.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I mean, you don't want to finally get it out to the world and it's bad.
Yeah.
You want to correct the errors first.
Right. So you're okay with feedback.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, good. I want to learn more. Dinara, welcome. It's good to see you. Thanks.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for being here. Hey, so did you come here with a dream, something that you want to experience, something you want to create, something you want to change, something that excites you?
I actually have a dream that's going to come true. So I want to be a geriatrician, an elderly doctor.
Nice. So you're so confident. You know this is going to come true.
Yes, I do.
How do you know that, Dinara?
Well, I work as a CNA at a nursing home, and I actually enjoy my job. So I feel like I should pursue my career into being a geriatrician.
That's amazing. And I don't think a lot of people know what a geriatrician is. Did you?
Yeah, it's an elderly doctor.
Right. So you are now a student at ICC, and what degree do you need to be a geriatrician?
I would need a doctorate degree.
Okay, and how many years will that take?
Well, I'm 2 years down, so I have 6 more years to go.
I love it. And nothing's going to stop you, right?
Nothing's gonna stop me.
Oh, this is good. Okay. Well, we're going to reconnect in 7 years.
Okay.
Okay. And we're going to celebrate, and it's going to be beautiful. All right.
Yes,
Okay. I'm going to do this. Will you visit with me in 7 years?
I will.
Okay, good. And the journey, I'm sure, will be easy at times. And I'm sure it will be a little difficult. Hey, do you ever struggle with any of those like organic chemistry or any of those like intense weed out classes? Have you taken those?
I haven't taken any yet.
Yeah.
I know I probably will struggle, but that's what come with all of this. So
You're ready to struggle.
yes.
And when you struggle, do you have someone who helps you?
I like to struggle alone. I don't like help.
Interesting. Why not?
I'm just really an independent person. I don't like help from others.
Yeah.
The only help I'll get is from the instructor, and that's it.
Right. How about from other students?
Yeah, if I'm in person, if not, then I'm not gonna reach out to them.
Right. How about tutors?
Tutors, yeah,
Who don't you reach out to then? Who won't you reach out to?
my parents.
You will not ask them for help.
No.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting thing. Okay. Maybe we'll explore that a little bit. I'm a big fan of help, Dinara. I do. I think I can't do this stuff alone. And I find that when I ask for help, people tend to be incredibly generous and wonderful along the way. So I know that you seem a little resistant to wanting to get help, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can just tell you from my own experiences, the more I don't know and the more I give people permission to help me, the more meaningful my experiences are. And it only helps me to be stronger and better and have people in my corner. So, and if you ever need help along the way, I'm happy to be in your corner, even if you don't want me. And I'm happy to give you some words of encouragement. Carrie, you have been through a little bit of life, right?
Little.
Well, you have some life experience.
Yeah.
I saw you make a little bit of a face when Dinara was talking about she doesn't like to ask for help. You seem to have some strong feelings about that. Dinara, are you okay with Carrie sharing her feelings about asking for help?
Of course.
So Carrie, share what you were thinking or feeling.
Asking for help is probably the most difficult thing because you don't think that you don't want other people clouding your business. You don't want, like, you're not sure like what those ideas are. You have to work on their schedule, those types of things. And what we found is that through supplemental leadership and things like that have actually bolstered kids' grades from almost 2 grades. So you're looking, going from C's to A's by attending these classes and attending tutoring. So I am a big fan of asking for help. So if I could encourage you, I still am at ICC. So you can always come to me and ask for help, since you see my face now.
Oh, that's wonderful. I hope you will. Danira, are you a first generation student, or are you a student who other people in your family have graduated from college?
Yeah, my mom's actually a nurse. She's
So
graduated.
So she's been there and done it.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I'm wondering why you don't want to why don't you like asking your parents for help?
I just feel independent enough. I'm really confident.
Yeah, that's good. That's wonderful. Well, I'm excited to get to know you. You're very interesting. I mean, you're also interesting. I find people so interesting, and I love your focus, and I love your determination. And I want to, I'm like charged up. It's like, I want you to ask everyone for help, because miracles happen when you ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of being confident, knowing that I'm good enough and worthy enough, and I'm giving other people permission to offer their insight and wisdom, because I know that those around me have life experiences that I can learn from and grow from. And when you frame it that way, that it's not about being less than, but it's about me offering people the gift of being able to give and share, it changes your whole perspective. Would you agree with that, Carrie?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a collaborative effort to have anybody get through college. And I think everybody would agree here, whoever is supporting you to get through college, you're not doing it alone, although you kind of feel like you are. You have people like Danira, you do have your parents supporting you in the sense of like, go girl, get it done. So you have that kind of support. You have maybe your work, working on those things. I personally have my husband and my Yorkie that supports me in every way. And because of that, I mean, just being able to collaborate just with them is just it's a small bit, and being able to talk about my classes and that support has been huge. So, they say it takes a village, and it's true. It really is. And going through college shouldn't be one of those things that you're alone in. I mean, there's a reason why there's quads and places to meet people and different types of organizations to help lift you up, because your brain is so wonderful that you should share it with everybody, and everybody can get a little piece.
Yeah, there's actual data that talks about mentoring programs, and how people who are involved with mentoring programs, they are much happier in their job and much more successful. And mentorships really make it easy to ask for help, because the whole program is, I'm going to help you and assist you, and that's my job, which makes it easy. And that's where I think leadership programs are really cool. But anyway, I'm talking too much. This is not about me. But Danira, I got excited. You excited me with this, with that information. It's like you pushed a button, because my name is Help Me Harlan. I don't know. That's the name of the advice column that I wrote for over 20 years. So all I want to do is help. Jonathan, you seem very helpful. You seem like a very kind-hearted individual. So Jonathan, how are you when it comes to asking for help?
Carrie actually mentioned the SI program, and I too was part of the leadership for that. I tutored a math class, college algebra, and it was actually really fun. A lot of the students, after the semester was over, emailed me and said, "Thank you for the help. It definitely helped improve my grades on the finals and homework and such as that."
So explain to me what you did and what your role was in this program.
So for a supplemental instruction leader, their job is basically to host sessions that could be 50, I think the maximum is 50 minutes. So about hour-long sessions outside of the normal class times, usually about 3 times a week, that students can optionally attend. And if they do, or if they don't, it doesn't affect their in-class grade at all. It's a completely optional program. From the studies that they have conducted, it has greatly helped students' grades, like Carrie said, from about 1 or even 2 grades.
So you're a leader?
Yes,
So that's interesting. So you were picked to lead this group, this supplemental instruction.
precisely.
Interesting. And how does someone get to be selected to be an SI leader?
So the way that they reached out to me was after the fall 2020 semester. They said, "Hey, it looks like you got an A. You excelled well in this previous class that you completed. We have an opening for another SI instruction leader, so you can apply here, and you can mention the classes that you feel comfortable tutoring for, and then from there you go through a little process, get through the training, and then you become an SI leader, and you get assigned with an instructor, and from there it's all fun."
Did you get paid for this?
Yes, about $10 an hour, I think.
Nice. And you enjoyed it, Jonathan?
Oh, it was fun. I love math. So it's also helping yourself learn if you help others. There was that one Phil Collins song that I keep bringing to mind. It's "In learning you will teach, and in teaching you will learn." How when you teach someone else something, you're reinforcing your own abilities to remember it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. De Niro, would you want to be an SI leader or instructor?
I don't think I'm good at instructing people.
Oh, that's the perfect reason to do it. Yeah, we'll push you outside. You're gonna hate me by the end of this. I don't know. Are you cool with me like pushing a little bit and being
Go
playful?
ahead.
Are you sure? Because I think you would be the best. I really do. That would be I
I
would.
agree.
You could tell Jonathan, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I just think that you represent what so many people feel. And when you are someone who like has been through that, who doesn't like asking for help and kind of resists it, and then becomes the one who's helping, all those people who don't want to be helped, who don't feel they need help, all of a sudden can connect with you, right? Because that's the
Yeah,
beauty.
they probably can connect with me.
You're the anti-helper who wants to help, but yet at the same time, this is the thing, De Niro, we're too early into this to have analyzed you so much, but you want to be a geriatrician, which is essentially helping people, like helping, you said older people. I don't know if elderly, sometimes the word elderly, I'm not crazy about that word elderly, because I think people,
Yeah, older people.
right. But no judgment with you. My parents are older, but they're not elderly. But you want to help people, but you don't like getting help. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, I never thought about it that way, but
Right. And you want them to reach out to you to get that help, which is so interesting. And Abby, I don't know why I call you Abigail, because on your thing it says, I know it's like, I'm not your parent. Abigail. Abby, you feel like you're in trouble when I say Abigail, I bet.
Yes, it sounds like it.
Like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
But you could talk to those people who are in the military, who are doing the things you want to do, who are working in childcare and special education, and or people who have been in the military who have left. Is there a career center at ICC where you can connect with people who have had these experiences? Have you done that? Is that resource available?
Actually, there's a Veterans Affairs office. Her name is Marie. And she's actually helped me out a lot. I know at first I was signed up to go to ICC, and then I'm like, no, school's not for me. And so I joined the military. And then I came back and I was like, maybe I'll, try school again. So I talked with her, and she was actually the one that, told me like, hey, start it, see how it goes, and then go on from there. And so she has actually helped me quite a bit with, career plans and what I may or may not want to do, in the future.
That's great. So you have someone in your corner at ICC who can help you.
Yes.
That's great. So for anybody who is in a similar situation, it's the Veteran Affairs Office. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Great. And who's the person who's been helping you?
Marie Doty, I think you say her last name.
And Marie's been pretty welcoming and supportive.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Jonathan, we got sidetracked for a second and we didn't hear about your dream, because I know you've got a dream, Jonathan. I get a sense you want something, right? There's something you're excited about, something you want to create, change, or experience.
Well, actually, you said it yourself. It's to create things. I really enjoy making things, and my current major is called Material Science and Engineering. Basically, that job is you're a maker. you make the steel for engineers, you make the fabrics for clothing companies, you make the glass for window companies. You basically make everything. And throughout my life, that's basically what I've been doing. I've been 3D printing, I've been making music, I've been building building strange things, but overall I just want to make things.
What's the strangest thing you've made or built?
Well, probably the strangest thing I've made is actually right here. It looks weird. It's kind of like it's called a center finder, where if you can put it on a board, you can twist it in a certain way, and the little dot in the center tells you where the center of the board is, so that you can draw a line and cut it with a saw or something.
You invented that.
And not necessarily invented, it was inspired invention.
So if I were to put that on a board and just start rolling it around, eventually I'd find the center.
Okay, let's see if I can illustrate this. Here I have a book, and if I put the center finder right here and twist it so that the knobs go on either side, right here, if I move it up and down and all along, it's dot in the center, and that traces the middle line of the book, or of the book.
Oh, okay. So that thing, and it's always accurate?
Most every time, yes.
Wow. Interesting. I think I understand that.
I didn't, but
You did not understand it?
I didn't understand it.
So do one more example. I know this
Okay.
isn't what this is about, but I'm curious. Because more than anything, maybe we could learn something. The fact that you created this on a 3D printer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
So let's see if I can get it closer in. So there's you can see that little hole in the middle right there.
Yes.
If you were doing some woodworking or something, that's where you would put your pencil. And so if I had this book here, put it in the middle, and then there are these two knobs on the sides. Those would hug the two sides of the wood board, or in this case, the book. Then you put your pencil in the middle of the dot, and then you go up and down the board, or probably more effectively just go in one direction.
Okay.
And your pencil there, it'll mark a straight line, so that you can cut a board in half, or basically find the center of whatever you're finding. The center.
Okay.
that's exciting. And is there a problem you want to solve, or some, dream solution that you would like to achieve?
There are a lot of things.
Give me like the craziest one, man.
So, which one to choose?
Give me all of them, or give me like a few. Just rattle them off.
Okay, so in the world of science, at this current point, there is no bad idea, or an idea that doesn't seem too far off to not achieve. And most of the inspiration can come from movies. Lightsabers, we've been having some pretty fun developments with that. So that's one thing I might want to get into, because again, that's materials. You're learning about metals, you're learning about plasma, different types of gases. One thing is also telekinesis. There are a few ideas I have regarding magnetics and something called eddy currents, which is a magnetic phenomenon. And it could help, quote, move things with your mind, but in a much simpler way, using something called cybernetics, where, judging by certain hand gestures, the brainwaves that are sent are received by some sort of a headband, and then you can translate that into computer code, go somewhere, and perform some sort of computer action. I don't know how to do any of this, and that's why I'm in school, but things along those lines, like future cutting edge technology.
Who's your hero? Who's somebody you aspire to be?
But one would be my father, just to be the good man that he is. But in the science realm, I don't know.
Oh, I don't think you just want to share it. I think you're holding back.
So probably one of them would be Albert Einstein. And
Yeah.
he's a famous guy. But the things that he did in his life, all the achievements he made, and from his position in life, it basically says you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then ICC, how did you end up at ICC, Jonathan? I know you were homeschooled, and it sounds like you have a lot of big dreams, and you seem like you're capable of doing so much. And I would love to know, how did ICC become the next step in your journey?
So I actually started ICC in high school doing the dual enrollment. I did some homeschool and then went to class for 2 or 3 classes. And I got a lot of gen eds out of the way. And then by senior year, we were thinking, let's see how many of those we can get out of the way while also pursuing some of the sciences. So I've technically completed 5 semesters at ICC. And already for my transfer, I'm done with basically all my gen eds. And so when I do get up to Michigan, I can just go full on with my material science and have a lot lighter of a load. And that's all thanks to ICC basically giving me a boost.
So just to be clear, you were in high school and you were part of this program, and then explain to me just how you were able to complete so many credits, and then continue on, to your next step. Just kind of, will you walk me through that real quickly?
Sure. So starting in junior or senior year, I had my high school classes like Algebra 2 and things like that. But then I took on Spanish, elementary Spanish to get a humanities, and then also English. Basically, some of the classes that parallel that are the introductory courses that weren't beyond the scope of high school, but that were still college grade. And so I did. Usually, it was never more than 2 or 3 classes per semester, so that I still had my high school and my college. And then senior year, I took on a few more. And by that time, I was getting into more of the sciences, but again, the introductory sciences. And then starting last fall, I could do honors program. I could do a lot more of the science classes.
Right. And now you are going to graduate from ICC this year?
So I'm actually not going to be graduating this year. I'm still a freshman. But I was talking to the advisor at Michigan, and they said, in the world of engineering, not too many people value an associate's degree when you have a bachelor's degree. So you can just go ahead and come on up here, and we can just keep you going and get you ready for that bachelor's. So I think for some people, for certain types of engineering, an associate's can be helpful, but a bachelor's is probably going to get you more of a job than an associate's would.
So you graduated from high school, and then you went to ICC to continue to get these credits, but you could have gone to Michigan Tech, right? You could have gone somewhere right out of high school, but you chose to stay at ICC. And I'm curious why you made that choice. And did that help you when it came to moving on to a 4-year institution?
The number one factor in that was price. ICC was very, very cost effective and cheap, but with good education, cheap and high quality. Being able to get the gen eds at a lower price than going straight up to Michigan and having to pay a lot heftier of a price for the same classes, it just seemed the more economic solution.
People look at community colleges. I think they're an incredible value, which you just demonstrated. But just in terms of like the quality of the education that you've received, I want to ask everyone this question. I'm really curious. But Jonathan, do you feel that you've received a great quality? How do you quantify that? Or how do you determine the quality of your education? Because it seems like you seem really happy.
So the teachers are nice. The instructors are friendly. They offer help. And basically all my teachers, they would always break concepts down very simply. And if they didn't, they would ask the class, was that clear? And if they said no, they would explain it a lot simpler. So the success of the students was their main priority.
And it felt comfortable to ask questions when you needed more information?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Devin, I'm really curious to learn more about you. So Devin, give me a little bit of background of you. Like what were you like in high school? Like what type of person were you? Family dynamics. And then how did you make the choice to go to ICC?
I wasn't quiet, but I stayed to myself. I wasn't, too loud. I kind of just stayed to a group of friends. We just hung out a lot and everything. I mean, I played sports and everything, but at the same time, I wasn't taking classes as serious as I should have. By junior year, I wasn't even paying attention to my GPA. So by junior year, took ACT and found out what my GPA was, and let's just say I wasn't happy. And so pretty much I was kind of disappointed in myself. So by the second half of junior year, I started taking things serious and see my grades get better. Senior year, I took the same steps and I got, better grades, and I created a pattern and learned study habits and got better. And then, but my GPA, you get so far by junior year, you can't really change the GPA that much. So I've seen ICC as a second opportunity. I wasn't really going to get scholarships or, accepted to other colleges. So I went to ICC, your GPA starts all the way over, and I took full advantage of it. When I wanted to go to a college, I could choose this time. And then I went to ISU, and it was just, yeah.
So you're at ICC for 3 years, and then transferred to ISU. And was that an easy process? Was that a difficult process?
To transfer?
Yeah.
For a graphic designer, it wasn't supposed to be, because in the past they had complications of taking the credits of the graphic design from ICC because they didn't think their classes were kind of good enough. But a couple of new teachers came in and changed the program a little bit and kind of had us a little more advanced. So by the time my class kind of came in, some of us ISU students, were able to, kind of get in there without having to take sophomore classes and jumped up there with the juniors. So our process was easy, but the students before us wasn't. No.
Right. So that's fascinating. You really struggled in high school, like barely were passing. So.
Yeah. My mom used to say I'd do whatever it took to get by, pretty much. Like I would take a C, I would take a D, was passing, but as you get older, the mindset kind of changes and you start to take things more serious. So.
And then when you got to ICC, were you able to keep up with the classes?
Oh yeah. But if I didn't, another thing my mom used to say was stay in class, not stay in class, but stay after class to pretty much ask the teacher the things you didn't get, because when you get back home, you're just gonna be like, what was they talking about? But I mean, the main thing I did really was going to like the science labs and the math labs and things like that, because that wasn't my major. I didn't really get them things like that. But the other students or people in there, they were math majors, science majors, and they knew this language I didn't understand, and they made it easier for me. So when I took it home by myself, I could figure it out.
So explain to me, when you are struggling in those classes and you need to go to the math lab or the science lab, do you just walk in there? Do you have to make an appointment? What does that feel like so other people who need that can do it real easily?
I don't think you had to make an appointment. I mean, I think you could, but I mean, it was a walk-in thing. So pretty much you would go in there. I think you would sign your name on the paper, put your time, probably the major, and then it would be other students helping students who need help. And then by the time they get done helping them, they'll try to find time to help you and everything. And then it's just, kind of first come, first serve. But I mean, it makes sense though.
Was it scary to go in there and ask for help?
No. I mean, I probably would have been more scary if I would have went home and not have known what I was doing. So.
Yeah. How do you go from being someone who didn't care to being someone who goes to ICC and then transfers to ISU and graduates from ISU in 2 years? I mean, that's remarkable.
Good things around other people start to happen and you just kind of feel a little left out. So by the time I did find out my GPA in high school and everything, people were saying what colleges they got accepted to, where they were going. They seemed pretty hyped up, and it's like, I really only had one choice, so I don't know, that kind of motivates you. Certain other things motivate you, so I mean, at a certain point in time, you just got to kind of step it up. So that's kind of what I got to.
Yeah. Did you find friends at ICC?
Yeah, I found some new ones. I found in my major, because they got the same homework, same things going on as me, so we can relate. Um, Come to other friends, it was funny because I went to Peoria High, so it's all everything is District 150, so it's manual. You got Notre Dame's not there, but you got those students, you got the Washington students, you have Richwoods, Woodruff, you have all these students come. So it's like it kind of transforms to a big high school almost. Everybody kind of knows everybody because of social media. So it was kind of familiar faces and when to a certain degree.
That's interesting. What was the hardest part of your ICC experience?
Probably trying to finish it out by myself a little bit. Not saying like I chose that, but like I said, it was kind of like high school. So everybody kind of started together in the first semester, and then second semester, you don't see as many faces, but you see faces. And then you just see people start dropping like flies, honestly. I mean, because some people don't take it as serious. And once you stick it through, you see, it's well worth it, So that was probably the toughest part, seeing some people not be in the library with you, sometimes. So that's probably the toughest part.
Why do you think so many students don't graduate? Because I know that's a difficult thing for students to persist.
I think some people don't see the opportunity that's in front of them, sometimes how big it is. I think sometimes they think they have another chance at it next time or when they feel like it, but I don't know. Some people they just, I don't know. That's a good question. I kind of wondered myself why sometimes don't want to stick it out. And it might be because it's not it's a marathon and it's a long one. It's a journey and it's something you got to stick through. And I mean, because having a degree, it's like it's not just a piece of paper. When you apply to jobs and things like that, it shows that you actually stuck through something and then quit. That's what it pretty much shows.
Carrie, why do you think so many students struggle when it comes to completing?
There's a lot of factors actually that could do that. A lot of kids, their socioeconomical status is a big deal. Money is a big deal, and sometimes it's easier to work than it is to, finish out schooling. A lot of kids, are also a part of that family economics where their income is part of the family income. It's needed. It's not just they're not just using it for Saturday night and hanging out. I mean, this is like for a livable wage. Mom might have to work. Mom might be from a family where she's raising the kids alone, and as soon as the kids come of age, boom, get them working. So I mean, there's a lot of different factors why people don't necessarily stick it out. I had one student last semester who almost threw in the towel, and I was so happy that they didn't. And it was a lot of support through ICC that really helped bolster him through. He had issues with housing for some reason, like obviously COVID was the big thing, but housing, there was an issue because they couldn't get maintenance out there because of the COVID issue, and the whole place got like cockroaches. So what are you going to do? Right. So luckily we were able to get in touch with some people from the foundation. They got those students out of that building and moved them into a new building so that they could do that. That was number one. Another problem that he was having, he was, before he was working, he couldn't work anymore. He was getting, food stamps and things like that. And there was an administration change right in January, and all of those food stamps and things like that stopped. So because of that, all of a sudden now there's a food shortage. So again, working with the foundation at ICC and through the PTK, we really helped, find out and locate some of these students that weren't getting food and things like that, because that was a quick way for them to just drop out. We're not even getting to the fact that, the classes are hard. Classes can be hard, sure, and you're going to need some extra help. But a lot of that is people don't know where to go for help. So there are so many different avenues at ICC that I feel that really do support a student. Like I'm just feel fortunate that I kind of stumbled into it my first semester because I didn't know that a community college could supply all that, and it made a huge difference in my college career. And it's going to make a huge difference in my dreams too.
So what types of things does ICC help with if a student is dealing with food insecurity or housing insecurity?
Mhm.
Who do they talk to, and is there help available?
I would always say, first of all, go to somebody that you trust. If there is a professor there or somebody, another student that might know, go to somebody that you can trust, that it can be kind of a private issue, because, these are things that are, that are private, and they won't be shared. And there is FERPA during, at the school, which means we can't share information. So the things that you tell us, it's kind of like Danara would know with healthcare, you've got HIPAA. It's the same thing for schooling. And so, if you confide in an administrator or things like that, or somebody there, that will help. And guarantee if you confide in a teacher, they're going to know where to send you. And there's lots of different avenues. So like I said, there's housing. Student life is one of the biggest places to start. And a lot of these places you can find right on the website at icc.edu. You can go right through and you find student life. I recommend all of you, if you're going to transfer, to look for a student life type of idea at any school that you transfer to. That's going to be your first stop. And they're going to basically show you all the different avenues of, things that are offered at the school. And, if you get stuck, if there's issues, there's different career counseling advices. There's now coaches to help you get through those couple of years. What's missing? Where are the gaps? What are the cracks that everybody's been falling through? And, I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. I mean, and also one of the reasons we're doing this. Yeah, jump in, Devin.
I don't know. I can kind of remember another reason why a lot of people didn't graduate. People spend too much time in the cafeteria, to be honest with you.
Brevet.
It was certain groups over here playing spades all the time. It would be certain playing magic cards all the time. And then it was just, it's a lot, and people would skip class to do these things, to be on the computer playing music, so I mean,
well, people don't really have the sometimes they haven't even been taught the skill on how to study, and so they go with the way they used to do things from like high school. I mean, my biggest argument is kids that come right out of high school and they come into these classes, they're going to study the way that they developed, not anything that was taught. There's no class. Would you guys agree? There's no class in high school that says, hey, this is how you study. Start with this. This is how you read the book. This is how you take the notes, and da 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 da. And now we're going to let you take a class. There's nothing like that. But SI does that for you. It does help you learn how to learn those skills, and we help supplement that for you and teaches you some new things. So if you are able to get into a class early, find them, take a class that has supplemental instructors, because they're going to teach you stuff that's just going to help you through your whole career. So yeah, there's a lot of different avenues out there.
You know what else they don't make you take a class to do before you actually but let me explain this better. There's something else that you don't have to take a class before doing, which is very similar. And I do a lot of education about this, and it's dating.
Right.
Right.
Or parenting. Well, we kind of got parenting.
Like all the things in life that are like so emotional, there isn't a class on how to work through that.
Nope.
And that's where even Danara, going back to like the help thing, it's like, reaching out for help is so powerful because nobody teaches us how to do these things. And we're just supposed to naturally know. And if we don't know, it's because, well, no one taught us and we're not supposed to know. So not knowing isn't a sign of being less than or not being smart enough. It's a sign that we just don't know. And
I like to look at it a way of like, it's not deficit thinking as much as look at all these opportunities out there that are available to us that I should be taking advantage of because I'm smart and I can see all of these different avenues that I could take in order to get the best grade or to meet the right connection. Because Danara, honestly, when you ask for help, I will say this last time and we'll leave Danara
we'll leave you alone.
We will. But I will say this. Because I asked for help, I stayed after class with my sociology teacher. I asked for help there. Obviously, she got me into SI, blah, blah, blah. I got the job, blah, blah, blah. I became president of the Phi Theta Kappa honors program and ended up, because of all of that, meeting and networking with a group of high scholars. So when my transition over to Eureka started, it was just like a walk in the park. And so part of asking for help is also who you know, and you get to know people. And I don't know if you're young, so you don't know, but sometimes it's really not what you know, it is who you know in this world. So, you could have, all the credentials behind you everywhere, but you know what? Do you know this person or do you know that person? And you ask for help along the way.
When somebody offers help, they invest in you. And then they feel a sense of accomplishment and joy and pride as you continue on your journey. And that's one of the exciting things. I love helping because I want everybody to be and do whatever they want. It fills me with light to see you happy. Abby, I want you to be in the military, to serve and to help all these families. These families need so much help, and so many of them are away from their loved ones. They don't have their parents or grandparents or other people who can help and offer that support. And you are a beacon of light who can provide that care in an environment where people need it the most while making these ultimate sacrifices. I see that. And then there are people who have done that, who are living that life, who are there, who would love more than anything to share with you their journeys, whether they're veterans or they're people who are currently serving, who take such great pride in what they do. So it's this, it's a wonderful thing. And Abby, thanks for being so patient. So I would love to know a little bit about you. Can you give us a little bit of background, just like high school you and how you chose ICC? And I know you said you started, then you stopped, and that sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So I grew up in Peoria, Illinois. And then my family and we moved to Morton. So I went there to a private school. I was going to go play basketball at Morton High School. And then my mom met my stepdad and remarried, and we moved to Eureka. So I went to Eureka High School. So it was definitely a change for me, a lot smaller. I had never been to, a public school outside of going from kindergarten to 8th grade to a private school. So it definitely was a huge change. But I am a pretty shy person. Until you get to know me, I'm very talkative and I don't know when to shut it. I got involved in a lot of sports. I played basketball, starting in 4th grade, and played a little bit in high school, but shortly ended up quitting. I did cross country, track, tennis, swim team, kind of did it all. And then, military was a thought and I wanted to do it, but I was dating at the time. So I was like, no, military is not for me. I'm going to hold it off. So then I graduated, worked for a long time. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll try school. And then I don't know how it all worked out, but I enlisted. 4 days later, I left. I went and did my training, came back home, and I was like, I think it's time to start school.
You graduated from high school and you were in a relationship and you didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Because you were afraid the relationship would end. Are you still in that relationship?
No. No.
So advice to anyone who is in that situation, what would you tell them?
Don't make decisions based on somebody else. Do it for you, because at the end of the day, it's only going to affect you, and you don't want to regret decisions. I definitely regretted not going and joining the military right outside of high school. It definitely put me back a little bit. You can start college whenever. My mom is in her 50s and she wants to start college now. Keep pushing, never give up, work for what you want to do in the future.
Yeah. Well, life experiences are all things that inform you. So there's no regrets, but I think having the insight, because you're not the first person who has told me the story, being in a relationship and not making choices that really align with your spirit and your light and the things that give you joy. And if somebody's meant to be in your life, then there will be a way that you can both live independent lives that make you happy and still be together. Like that's just what
Mhm.
happens if it's meant to be.
Yes.
My understanding is when you enlist though, and you do your basic training, are you able to then stop and do your education, or I thought you had to complete a certain amount of time serving and then do your education?
Well, I actually joined last year in February and shortly after COVID hit. So I did basic training, completed that in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And then I went off to AIT, which was my job training in Fort Lee, Virginia. So I got back at the end of July, so pretty much August. I guess you would say with COVID, we didn't really do the once a month because I'm in the reserves right now. So we were all Zoom. So I actually just started learning and doing my job the beginning of January of this year.
What's your job?
I'm a 92 Alpha, which is an automated logistical specialist. So it's pretty much supply. Without supply, the Army would not be complete, or the military. So,
Right. So you're doing that, and then you're in school full time as well.
yes, yep.
Great.
I get paid to go to school, but I have to be full time. So I'm currently in summer classes right now too.
And then will you have to serve a certain amount of time after you get your education?
Yes. The way that I enlisted, I wanted to go active right off the bat, but that wasn't available at the time. So I signed a 6-year contract with the reserves and then 2 years inactive. So a total of 8. So at any point, like what I'm trying to do now is go active. So I have to be released from my unit. So hopefully I can get down to 3 years on a contract. But like I said, that'd be active. So it would be Monday through Friday type of job.
Right. And if anyone has questions about what that means, and because for me, sometimes it's confusing.
Yes.
Just to know how you do it, what choices you make, how can you do your
Right.
education and still work through that. You go to the Veteran Services office and you can talk to them. And who else do you talk to if someone has questions?
I would also just recommend, reaching out to, a recruiter in your area. I also kind of like the face of ICC right now. I was asked to do a video with them, kind of about like how you would get involved with the Veterans Office. And there's definitely ways or people you can actually reach out to. I know quite a few people that are serving and go to ICC, and I didn't know them before then. So reaching out to people is also definitely a great idea. Don't be afraid.
Can someone who's watching this reach out to you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
All right.
Got you.
Yeah. I could feel you. You mean it. That's great. Danira, I want to know a little bit about high school you and how you made the choice to go to ICC.
High school me, I took it serious, but not serious enough. Like I had a 3.4 GPA. I feel like I was just ready to graduate. Like I maintained my grades above a C, but I feel like I was rushing, just ready to graduate. And once like everybody started applying to colleges, like Devin said, like I was just like, well, I want to like be that person to get accepted into many colleges. Really, I was focused on one college, and that was SIUE. I got accepted, but not me. My mom thought ICC would be cheaper, so I came here. But I'm actually happy that I came to ICC so I could save money, and I still have a chance to transfer to SIUE, but I actually want to go to Methodist and stay here for a couple more years in Peoria in town.
Interesting. So it turned out to be a really positive experience for you.
Yes, and saving money.
Yeah. So explain that conversation if you're open to it, because I know there's a lot of students who are worried about money.
If I would have went to SIUE, I would have been paying what, $20,000 for 2 semesters when I probably finished my whole ICC and have an associate's degree and still not pay as much as I would have within two semesters at SIUE.
When it comes to the financial commitment of going to ICC, is that something that you were able to handle? Were you able to get scholarships? Tell me about.
I was able to handle it. I'm really like a workaholic, so I go to work and pick up hours, and I pay for my tuition.
Danira, did you fill out a FAFSA?
Yes, and I don't qualify for that. I don't qualify for financial aid.
Okay. So you had to work a lot. How many jobs?
2 jobs.
And what jobs?
Just as a CNA,
Right. And what's a CNA for people who don't understand?
certified nursing assistant.
So you can do that out of high school?
Yeah, I went after I graduated. I took a 7-week course at MTI in East Peoria, and I became a CNA right after I completed the 7 weeks course.
So that's awesome. And then as a CNA, you worked in a facility where you discovered your love for what?
Okay, this is actually how I got into the nursing. I was working I'm still working at the nursing home, but I was actually a dietary aide, and I got to know the older people, and I was like, well, this would be like an interesting job. And my mom always like pushed me to becoming a nurse, and I've just told her like, I don't think that's for me. And getting to know the older people, I decided that I was going to do a CNA course and see if it was for me. And I actually love my job working as a CNA.
I love that you took the opportunity to work in something to explore, like
Mm-hmm.
you liked it, great. And if you didn't, great. Right. But you like it.
Yes.
Yeah. That's exciting. Do you get paid well as a CNA?
Yes.
Like roughly, you don't have to give me exacts because it's none of my business, but what's the range?
18 to 25.
Right. That's great. And then some people would say 18 to 25. That's phenomenal. Why would you want to go and get your degree? Why wouldn't you just keep working?
Yeah, you get paid more with a degree.
So that's the reason. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. So Carrie, I am curious. I know that you have some life experience. Can you kind of just give us a quick little recap of just your journey and how you ended up at ICC? And I know it's been a fascinating journey, I'm sure, but you can throw in some of the most dramatic parts, the most difficult parts.
Okay.
And give us the bullet points so we know, because you're in a really cool place. You're doing great stuff, and it's not like you magically got here.
No, I didn't. All right, I'll try to like wrap 20 years in a couple of minutes. Let's see if I can do that, because it felt like a million years. But okay. High school is a lot like Devin. I kind of grew up in an abusive household. There was a lot of issues there. And by the time I was ready to go to college, surprise, surprise, the GPA wasn't there, and my dad had divorced my mom, and he took all of the college money with him. So it was in a time when I didn't understand what financial aid was or how to do things on my own. And I love this, like, watch me wrap this around. And so what did I do? I pulled an Abigail and I joined the military. So I went into the military and went through basic and AIT, and then I stopped because that wasn't for me, which I think is awesome that it's for you. But it just wasn't for me because it wasn't where I wanted to be. And at that time, kind of fell in love and, met somebody and started working in mortgages and finances. And I was on the fast track to everything, and I got pregnant. And at that point, I had to kind of juggle those types of things through that. Now, just so I'm going to say a couple of things. I want you all to freak out. I am okay with all of this stuff because I'm at a different place in my life. But just so you figure it out, so you know where I've been. Once my daughter was born, I found out that she had cerebral palsy. It was like a real big hit because now I have to raise a disabled child, and I wasn't prepared for that. 6 months later, my husband gets in a car accident and dies. So after that, I ended up having a really bad back accident, and I was paralyzed for 3 years. So just to review, cerebral palsy, death, paralyzed. So I had to work. I told you I have to wrap this up. So I had to work through learning how to walk again and stay home with my daughter. And I was trying to go through a bunch of different ideas, like how am I going to work, how I'm going to survive, how I'm going to do these things. And it wasn't easy. I luckily was able to stumble on disability, which really did help me through some really hard times, but that doesn't come right away. So there were some things like, welfare and aid and I took well advantage of everything that I could and eventually got off all of those programs. After all of this was said and done, I concentrated really hard for my daughter to get a good education. And I just that was my job for about 18 years. And luckily, a couple of years back, she got into U of I and she got a good scholarship to go there. And I sent her on her merry way. So then it was like, okay, now it's time for me. And one of my dreams has always been to graduate from college. And I would actually be first generation in my family to graduate from college. My mom did, and my brother and my father. And I kind of spoke to my husband, and one of the main reasons why we were doing this was, well, now we got to pay for my daughter's college, right? So how are we going to do that? And it's time for me to kind of get back into life. And my husband, he's a monument artist, and so he's kind of stuck at his job, stuck at a certain wage, and there is no way in hell that he is going to go to college. He's just not doing it. And so I said, well, I can do it. So that was the first choice. And then the second choice was where to go. And ICC was definitely a possibility because right up the street from us, I kind of went in and kind of figured out some programs and things like that and just kind of stumbled on it, really. I took a couple of summer classes and to see what I want to do. And I'm like, what do you do at the age of 45 or whatever? And, basically it came down to, I love to teach. I love to use my life experiences as stepping stones and teaching opportunities for other people. And that's where the whole I'm going to be a professor kind of a thing came into play.
Yeah, Danera, what do you think of that?
It's amazing. I wouldn't have expected you to go through all that.
Wouldn't either. To be honest with you, I mean, it was a tough journey, but everybody always asks, well, I mean, you wouldn't do it over again. I'm like, absolutely, I would, in exactly the same order. I mean, it was really tough, but I mean, hey, college isn't as tough as that. That's the way I always look at it. I'm like, I'm sorry, but going through all of those things, within that was all stuff that happened within a matter of a year. So in that time, going through that, I'm like, college is going to be easy.
College isn't going to be hard.
No. And the thing is, it taught me resilience, and it taught me to just keep pushing, even when it was hard. And I think that's kind of the mantra that I have, is just to keep pushing. And I what I like to do, and why I got my associates as opposed to, like just transferring, and Jonathan, I agree with you 100%. Like there are just some majors that it's just like associates doesn't necessarily need to jump right into, the bachelor's. But in my case, I'm more pragmatic, and I need almost like, hey, here's your mini goal. First goal, get your associates. Second goal, go get your bachelor's. Next goal, get your master's. Next goal, get your doctorate. So it's all of these, things I like to kind of put a pin in them. I'm like, all right, I ain't got to do that anymore. And I kind of move on from there. So yeah.
So you have gotten a lot of help along the way.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely.
Give us some highlights of like some of the people who helped you and how they helped you. Because as someone who's works at ICC who helped, mm-hmm. I think it's really, first of all, incredibly powerful to know what your journey was.
Mm-hmm.
That you help, but I'm curious to know how you've been helped from your daughter, amazingly going to U of I, to being a young parent who is a widow, to being paralyzed. I mean, when you can't move, someone's got to help you.
what really helped me was the kindness of strangers. And it was, going into groups, not being, just opening myself up, saying like, I've never done this before. I'm sorry, I have no clue what to do, and I'm not going to feel stupid if this is, beneath me or above me or whatever. I'm not looking at that. I'm just looking for help at this point. And I kind of threw my hands up in the air, the whole Jesus take the wheel kind of an idea. And, I had to go through physical therapy. Physical therapists actually helped me connect with some psychologists that really helped me, kind of lay out my life and kind of like make sure I'm doing things. So I did a lot of like physical and mental therapy as well, which is why I'm in social psychology now. That was really helpful. Obviously going to the state was a big deal, but I did a lot of research too, and would talk to a bunch of people that were like in the group therapies and things like that. When I was going to places for my daughter, like the doctor's office, they would give me like lists of places to call. And the biggest help with my daughter was Easter Seals, 100%. So Easter Seals helped her amazingly, like through like actually the harder times that you wouldn't really think is a big deal, but it is. Christmas is like a really hard time, and they have a really great Christmas program for the kids. It's like mom could only afford, one or two things, but they loaded her up kind of a stuff. And that really helped for like 3 or 4 years. I had to do that when she was younger. It's interesting, as they saw me kind of grab the reins a little bit more, family started to come into play. So there was a lot of family that helped with all of that. Then when I came to ICC, stab in the dark, and I've said it a couple of times that I had a professor that just, I don't know what she saw in me. I don't know, but she saw something. She saw, something that she wanted to mold. And like you said, Harlan, they invest in you and then they want to see it through. She has been with me through this whole process, and we're friends now, which is really cool that, we can actually have, a relationship outside of school because of that. And, she's been amazing. SI leadership has been amazing. PTK has been amazing. So all of that.
What's her name?
I don't know if I should say.
Okay.
I don't know if I should say, but I will say this. She is the coolest sociology teacher at ICC.
So that will be easy.
Mhm.
But what sociology teachers,
There's a couple.
they know they're not as cool?
Maybe.
Or they all vying.
Maybe they're a little older.
They're all vying to be the
Little
coolest.
Right. Yeah, right.
Right. Well, thanks for sharing all that. I mean, it's
Sure.
vulnerable. You go through a lot of this, and I know we should talk for another 2 hours. And
Right.
I've been, because I'm just so curious, because we have so many people who are in different phases of their life. And I think the joy of being at ICC is you have students who are 18, and then you have students who are 38,
Not.
48, or 58, or
Right.
or not, or 68, whatever they are. And those life experiences. I'm curious, Danira or Jonathan or Devin or Abby, when you were in classes at ICC, were there other students who you interacted with who were different ages, who had different life experiences? Did you get a chance to talk to other students from other places, or did you just stay within your own age group? Devin, it looks like you did. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, I've been in classes with a lot of different age groups, 20, 30, 40. I mean, I was there 3 years, so possibly 50, but it's a range of, age groups and where everybody's from and everything like that. So you'll go through that at ICC. But that's pretty cool though, because you'll have different brains to pick at and everything. And like you said, they kind of do have different stories and everything. So it's pretty cool to meet people.
Yeah, I think that it could be intimidating, but at the same time, I hear your stories, Carrie. And I think, wow, if somebody only asked you a question or learned a little bit about you, the life experience that you can share. And, I have so many questions, and I really want to be conscious of time. You're all so interesting, and I want to give everyone all the attention that they deserve. I am curious, though, Carrie, when you enlisted and you did your basic training,
Mhm.
and you said, this isn't for me. I didn't know that that's something someone can do. I thought once you enlist and go through basic training, you basically signed a contract and signed those years away. Can you explain to me how that works?
Well, it's not easy. And Abigail will know that. It's not one of those things where you can just like, it's not for me. I was pretty much, I was through basic and I was going to AIT, and I had a long sit down with my drill instructor and kind of explained to them what my life was like before I came there. And I'm sure that they had heard a million different stories about, oh, I came from a broken home and stuff like that. But it was rough. And I had to go through speaking with the chaplains, a couple of the counselors on board, and we made a decision that was the best decision to make, is to go ahead and cancel it. And it wasn't easy though. It's not like, oh yeah, you can get out of it. I mean, I remember my mother when I had finished basic, which was good, but my mom was like trying to figure out a way. She's like, I'll write the governor. And I'm like, Mom, governor's not gonna get me out. I'm like, I'm gonna get me out. Like, I put myself into this place. I will get me out. And I will tell you, it was a life lesson. First of all, I still roll my clothes the same way, and Abigail will appreciate that. And I still do my socks the same way, and I'm pretty anal retentive, so that hasn't gone anywhere. And I really want it to say on my tombstone, "Here lies Carrie. She can make the best bed in the county." So it's like, I know how to make a good bed. I was always like really spontaneous, and I would just kind of like do things, on a dime. I'd be like, "Yeah, let's go here, or let's go to Chicago, or let's go to Detroit, or let's go do this." And it was the first thing that I had to figure out a way to follow through. And that was actually the beginning of my journey to learn how to follow through. And I had to do it myself. So I got myself into this mess. I'll get myself out. And that was the first thing that I did. So
yeah,
life lesson.
And also the lesson that you can change your mind.
Yeah.
That even when things seem very dark and difficult,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you're not happy with the choices that you made, that there's always a way. I think Carrie,
Right.
you're the ultimate testament to it's going to be okay.
Yes, absolutely.
I think a lot of people really worry that it's not going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
It's remarkable. It's also interesting because you don't look like, I look at you and you don't look like someone who's been through a lot.
There's wrinkles, and this is gray hair. This is
I can't see it. If I were judging you, I'd be like, life was pretty good.
Resilience. You have to build that up. That's what you do. I mean, again, looking at life as, full, there's so many things to learn. So, and I'm not done. And I think I'm a life learner. It's important to me. So
yeah,
you could take my legs, but you're not taking my brain. So
I love it. Thank you. Okay. So Jonathan, I need to know a little bit about you and your background, just to kind of help us know how you chose ICC. I think we might have touched on it a little bit, but we did touch on it. But give me a quick recap, and then I've got speed rounds of questions. I got like a lot of stuff I want to hit on, but this is also helpful. So Jonathan, give me a little bit, just like your family and where you grew up and your schooling, and then how you made your choice.
Our family is a Christian family, so we have church. We have some friends there who are similar age, so we can have some shared experiences. And then we also were enrolled in something called a co-op, which is basically a citywide or regional group of homeschoolers that come together and do mini classes, or we're still homeschooled, but we're gathering. From there, we got to do a lot of literature and got to meet some friends, and some friends that I would see later at ICC. And so that I had some more study friends and places to go, more people to meet, like their friends, so that I could just meet even more people from there. Homeschooling, there's kind of like a stereotype with the homeschooling people that they are all alone. They don't they don't socialize very much, but you do actually meet quite a lot of people because there is a community of homeschoolers.
When you went from homeschool to college, how did you make friends? Where are the places you found connection and community at ICC?
So I started with the friends that I already had, transferring from co-op or from church or places like that. And they had friends that I wasn't friends with yet. And then from there, there's just a chain of meeting new people, sharing a lot of stories, sharing some similarities and networking.
So In terms of like specific places, activities, organizations, ways that you got involved at ICC, are there any of those specific places where you found, those people who you already knew?
The cafeteria itself, though, is a great place to meet new people because that's where everyone goes. So there I got to just spark random conversations with strangers and find out, oh, you're doing that. I am too. Or
How does that work? So the cafeteria is really busy, but like, do people just walk around? Like, if you don't know someone, do you just sit at a table with someone? Is it weird? Like for people who are walking into ICC and they enter that cafeteria, how do you find that person or connection?
you have to be bold. It's weird to just go to a table and say, hey, is this seat taken? Because they're not all one person tables. That's not how it's designed. They're all 4-person or more. And eventually you run out of room where the people just go and take an entire table. And soon everyone has a 1-person, 4-person table. So you run out of places to go. Yeah, you're basically almost forced to go sit down at a table with a stranger. And I would actually encourage people to do that even if there are other tables open. Like if somebody's doing something like a hobby that you like, you can go sit down with them and say, hey, I do that too. Or you can just spark a random conversation. It's just take the bold step.
What if they think you're weird for doing that? Because I offer the same advice, man. And people are like, you know what? What if someone thinks I'm weird? Like, what if they judge me?
Well, what is it to you what they think of you? Like, keep an open mind, but keep a guarded mind that you're open to feedback, you're open for suggestions, but overall, you're making the decisions.
Well, you're like a homeschool kid. It's crazy how brave you are.
It's something that you need to learn.
Do you think it's because you weren't like teased as much or like bullied or like, I don't know. I mean, not that like everyone's teased and bullied who's in a high school, but I mean, like high school is not the easiest place to be. Middle school is not the easiest place to be. So I don't know. What do you
It's
think?
definitely a choice to decide not to be lonely because coming out of homeschooling, coming out of co-op and things like that, you don't meet a lot of friends because you're going to a co-op that has 30, 40 people. You go into a community college with thousands. It's rare to bump into some people. So you just had to make the decision to not be lonely, to make the friends and again, just taking the bold step.
Yeah. The ICC honors program, did that help you meet people?
So I was in the honors program during the COVID session. So I didn't get to actually go to places and talk with honors people, but still over Zoom and virtual means. We did do some on game nights or Kahoots or quizzes or fun things like that.
And tell me, Jonathan, when it comes to transferring, because I know that you're going to be going to Michigan Tech, what's that process like and where do you get help on campus to go through that?
At ICC, I don't know about other places, but at ICC, it's a very, very simple process. Sure, there's a bit of work. You do have to take a few steps, but so you start with your transcript. You get an idea of what schools you want to go to, and you get your official transcript, either PDF or a paper copy, and you send it off to whatever school you want to go to. Then you go to their other schools' websites, and you look at them, look at their programs, find out which schools you want to go to. And then this is the important thing. Visit the campuses. Like, you can't judge a campus based on their website entirely. So if you have interest, go visit them, talk to the people there, say where you're coming from, and see if any other students from ICC have been there. And usually, pretty much every university I went to had a list of the courses that already transferred from ICC. And that was like, they had it separated for each college. ICC came up every time.
Is there a office that you would visit or an advisor who helped you?
During COVID, I didn't actually talk to a specific person, but I did talk to the transfer offices at Michigan and Michigan Tech. So from the ICC side, I didn't talk to many people.
Right. So you worked with the school, so that was one way. Devin, I know that you went through that process where you started at ICC, then transferred to ISU. Was there someone who helped you to go through that to make it easy for you?
I think there were a number of people who helped me because I went more than once, just to make sure I got everything right and, all the paperwork and stuff and all the credits went through. So I can't say exactly what the office is called, but I mean, when you go through the main doors, it's pretty noticeable. You kind of just walk a little forward, take a left. I mean, you might even see a little line, it's a lot of people in there that you could talk to help you out for that.
Devin, when it comes to paying for college, going from ICC to ISU, was that a challenge? Did you have money available? Did you get a lot of financial aid?
I think it was kind of taken care of for me, kind of, because I had a different situation where my mom and dad were like, kind of separated. So it was like kind of under a one parent type of deal, So it didn't really cost that much for me, to be honest with you.
So
I mean,
you
I had to take out a couple loans, but I mean, it wasn't like, I know people were like tremendous loans. So,
yeah, so not having a high expected family contribution
mhm.
helped you to get a lot of financial aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think people get that. And then for ICC, was it easy for you to pay for your education here?
I went to ICC where like Peoria Promise was like kind of really helping people, kind of. So, I mean, I didn't really have to pay for ICC either, to be honest with you, which was a good thing because, I mean, if I would have went to a different college and then had to pay for things and stuff, and then I wanted to change my major or decided I didn't want to go, then I probably would have to pay all that back. So, I
Yeah.
mean, if you really don't know what you want to do yet, then ICC is a great start.
Danira, what's been your most rewarding experience at ICC?
I don't know.
Okay. What's been your most uncomfortable or challenging experience?
I think my most challenging would be taking the classes online because I'm like a visual learner and I like to be in person. I guess you could say I asked for a little help, but yeah, asking the teachers questions because when you email them, they have 100 other students that they have to get back to, so they're not going to get back to you like they would if you were in person.
Yeah. So you're excited to go back in person.
I'm actually like online. I'm taking a summer class, a math statistics. So I actually took the class last semester and I dropped it. So, but this semester is actually going pretty good. I just took a quiz before this Zoom call and I passed it. So I'm pretty confident.
Well, before you know it, you're going to be the SI, right? In
Yes.
statistics. We know that. Abigail, what's been your most Abby, sorry, I keep getting Abigail. Abby, what's been your most rewarding experience at ICC?
I would definitely say that my work doesn't go unnoticed. The instructors, with COVID being, a thing right now, I like to be in person, and learning. I don't like the Zoom learning at all. So just knowing that like I have someone to go to and I'm actually in a hybrid class this summer. So it's been very rewarding to be able to, have help. And I definitely think, getting involved at ICC has been another huge accomplishment for me. I've met a lot of people even with COVID. And as you say, Harlan, find some of the kindest people, not the coolest group of people to get involved with. So I don't know. I definitely think, there are people out there and, ICC has just been a huge accomplishment for me. And, never give up.
Specifically, who are some of these people and where are some of the places where you found some of these kind people who really welcomed you?
So the Veterans Office sent out when people need people for like photo shoots or commercials. And I actually was one of those people that they reached out to for some of their photo shoots. And then they liked me so much that they wanted me to do a commercial for them. And then I just kind of, like I said earlier, became like the face of ICC for this year. So I got to meet quite a few different people that, were also models for the photo shoots or participated in some of the commercials. And so, yeah, get involved. Don't be afraid.
Right. It's nice to know you're real. So when people see pictures, they could get to know the personality behind the photo. So
Yeah.
this is like the behind the scenes, which is great. But when it comes to tricks, when it comes to tips, when it comes to things that people who are starting their academic journey at ICC should know, things that helped you. Devin, you're a wise one. You've been through it. Do you have a couple tips you can offer those who are maybe in high school or are new to ICC?
To be honest with you, I mean, it sounds cliche, but just go to class. I mean, when you go to class, you get notes. You see what the teacher's talking about. You show up, and the next thing you know, I mean, you're doing a study guide, and you just remember what you heard in class, and you just see it on the test, and you study for a little bit, and next thing you know, you got a good grade. So, but if you don't go to class, then you just kind of get left behind a little bit, and the motivation kind of just drags you away. So, I think that's the biggest tip I can give today.
That's awesome. Abby, do you have a tip or a trick?
Don't ever give up. It's going to be hard, but just keep pushing and know, like, at the end of this road, you're going to get what you wanted in the long run, and it's all going to be worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah. What about you, Danara? Do you have a tip or trick to offer an ICC student?
I guess you could say from this Zoom, ask for help.
Yeah. Are you serious about that?
Yeah,
Did this change you a little bit?
just a
No.
little.
No.
Just a little.
All right. So
Yeah.
that's okay. It's not going to happen in 90 minutes. But I want you to know when you do, man, the world's going to open up and just say, Danara, oh, we love you. We're so happy you're asking because all we want to do is give you light and have you live your dream.
Oh, I hear them now.
I'm serious, right? Carrie, you know it. Carrie, do you have any tips or tricks?
Yeah, I will say this. It's like, it's your education and you can make it and design it any way you need to. So don't feel like because somebody else is taking 5 classes that you have to take 5 classes, and if it takes you a little bit longer, I'm here to say it's okay. I'm a little bit older, not much, a couple of years, but your journey will get you, get to your journey on your time, not on anybody else's time. So as long as you, put in the effort that you can, work hard, sure. But if you only can take 2 classes, but you're going to get 2 A's in those classes or a couple of B's in those classes, as opposed to taking 4 or 5 classes and maybe getting D's and C's, it's going to make a big difference. Because I will say this, the better your grades, it translates into dollars. And, the biggest thing for me is being able to go on a full ride scholarship over to Eureka. Like, I'm not paying anything, ladies and gentlemen. So, and I did that because I did create the way that I wanted to do things. And I took 4 classes, 4 classes, 2, 4 classes, 4 classes, 2. And that's how I did everything. And, I did it on my time so I could also work and, raise my kid and have a family and do all the other things. So do it on your time.
I know this is totally off topic, but a monument artist, is that what you said?
Yeah.
What's a monument artist?
So when you die, you have to have a tombstone, right? So it creates all the original, like, artwork, portraits, whatever, landscape art on your tombstone. That's what he does. That's my husband.
That is fascinating.
It is. It's pretty cool. So we got a lot of rocks around our house too. Like, he's got like little, he'll carve a lot of the, like the stones and things like that, like has your address on it. Or like we've got a thing in the front of our house that says the McGinnises and has got like this Yorkie on it, because we may be obsessed with Yorkies. But yeah, we have rocks everywhere with his little carvings and stuff like that. So yeah, it's fun.
That'd be such a cool reality show. Like
yeah. Trust me, that's like a whole another 2 hours. We could talk forever. So
cool stuff. And Devin, you're a graphic artist. I mean, I know it's different, but maybe you capture the art. That'd be like a cool Instagram or something where if Devin, if you caught some of like the monuments or like shared some of those. I don't know, man. I'm always trying to come up with ideas. I want you to be your own boss, and you know, you have such skills and nothing stops you. So I'm always trying to think. All right, Jonathan, what's a tip or trick you would offer to someone who's going to ICC?
So the tip or trick that I would offer is aim for success, not for perfection. Mark Twain said, "I did not let my schooling get in the way of my education." If you have the mindset that it's called the growth mindset, where even if you get like a C or a D on a test, don't think, "Oh, darn it, I'm not good at this anymore." With the growth mindset, if you get that C or that D, just think, "I'm not good at this yet." It's always the mindset that you're going to get better. And if you have the mindset that you're going to get better, chances are you're going to get better. So just go in with an open mind and be wanting to learn and wanting to grow, and you will.
I love it. It reminds me of a quote by Nelson Mandela. I never lose, I either win or I learn. And that mindset makes you realize everything's going to be okay no matter what. Because it's not about the outcome, it's about the experience of doing and learning. And you all are so wonderful in sharing that and communicating that. And I know I've kept you a little bit long, but I want to ask you one final question. We're gonna do it's like very quick, and I want you to go back in time, and I want you to transport yourself, Devin, back to Peoria High. You get to see high school freshman Devin walking through the halls, the high school Devin who really doesn't care much about his grades, doesn't even look at his grades. And it's you, man. It's like you, it's adult Devin who's like somehow got into the school. You know, they really shouldn't have let you in. But you see, you see freshman Devin, and you get to walk up to you and you get to whisper something in your ear, something that would have helped you to get to where you are today. And that's the question I want you all to answer. But Devin, if you had the opportunity to talk to 15-year-old Devin, what would you tell you?
I would probably tell myself to take things more serious and probably just, you know, I don't know, balance it out with still being young, I guess, at the same time. That'd probably be what I'd probably tell myself. I guess that's a little tough one right there, man.
Well, do you think you would listen to you or be like, get out of here?
I would definitely listen to myself. I think I would definitely listen to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're 15 to like listen, I think, and to process it. But
Yeah, but they say, I mean, it's good if you learn it on yourself, but I mean, a wise man learn from other people's mistakes. So I just, learn from that, put it with what I got going on and figure it out somehow. So
thank you.
yeah.
Abby, if you could see freshman Abby and have the chance to whisper something in high school freshman Abby's ear, what would you tell you?
Probably to be you and don't care what other people think. Because I definitely lived my high school years caring what other people thought about me or what they had to say about me. So I definitely would just say, be you, be weird, be natural. So yeah.
Do you love yourself now? Do you like being you?
Oh yes, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that's a hard thing. It's a hard journey for everyone. I'm still working on it. Danira, if you could give freshman you a little bit of advice, freshman high school you, what would you tell you?
I would tell myself to pace myself and don't overload myself.
You had a lot of pressure. You took on a lot.
Somewhat in high school, I kind of like overworked myself, and I feel like I still overwork myself not in high school, but in college. So I'm like trying to learn how to pace myself now.
Yeah, that's a hard thing for people to do. That's great. And then Jonathan, if you can give yourself a tip, freshman you wouldn't be walking through the halls of your high school. You'd be walking into your home school, busting into your house, which it sounds a little bit dangerous, but you'd have to give 15-year-old Jonathan a tip, what would you tell you?
I would probably just say, keep standing no matter what comes, because it's going to get hard. Things are going to try and push you down, but just keep standing, and that'll make you stronger in the end.
I know we're running out of time, but you didn't say what was so hard for you, because you didn't share anything that was really hard.
So the hard thing for me was indecision. Up until senior year, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so I was going around places and thinking, oh, what do I do? Do I like this or do I like this? I went through a lot of phases of, this is what I like. Oh, no, I don't like it anymore. This is what I like. Oh, I don't like it anymore. And so I started to think, what am I going to do? I can do all these things, but what am I going to do? An inner voice started to say, like, oh, you're not good at anything or anything, but just nope, don't listen to that. Just keep standing. You're going to end up where you're going to end up. And it's going to be good.
Yeah. Can I give you one tip?
Yes.
Is to give yourself permission to have small experiences, to give yourself permission to each year do one thing, knowing that each of those things is going to inform you and ultimately help you to realize what you want to do. And you have so much time to do it. So it's just breaking it into like smaller pieces and having these mini experiences with these mini challenges, knowing that you have enough time in your life to be able to experience it all. And you do. It makes it easier because it's not the rest of your life. It's just the next, 12 months. Doesn't have to be long. Carrie, if you could give high school you a tip, a little bit of advice, going way back to those difficult years in high school, what would you tell you to help you get through everything that was going to be in front of you?
I would say that education is not just preparation for life, but education is basically life itself. Life could change if I could have went on a different path. Absolutely. I mean, there's some things that might have still occurred, but maybe not. You need to have education in your life. It's something that is a constant. It's always part of you, and you're ever learning forever. So, don't give up, and just keep pushing at it. And kind of like what they've said here is like, just getting a C doesn't mean the end of the world. Forgive yourself. It's okay. So yeah, maybe that's what I would say to myself. Forgive yourself for the things that you've done. It's okay. Just push forward.
Yeah. And you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You are, which is wonderful. You're also amazing. And I'm so grateful for you being so open and being so vulnerable and allowing us into your lives. If anybody has questions about what you've shared, are you open to people reaching out to you? Would that be comfortable? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
It's curious. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because we'll include your contact info. And I love the idea that anyone who's in any place in their life, if they identify with anything that you've shared, reaching out, because you're all kind people who really want to help, right? Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Understanding. Yeah. Is there anyone who needs to clear up anything before I sign off? Because I always give everyone an opportunity. Sometimes if someone overshares or shares something that they didn't want to share, I always like to give them a chance to do that. Are we cool with everything? Is there anything else you wanted to contribute, or do I have clearance to wrap this up? You all good?
I'm all good.
All good.
You're all good, Danira?
I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Well, this has been a journey, a wonderful experience. I'm so grateful to have you all here. These are ICC students all opening up, sharing their life experiences. And for those of you who are listening and watching, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to them, reach out to me as well. I'm Harlan Cohen. This has been another college conversation. I'm so grateful to be here with you and look forward to continuing the conversation. Thanks, everyone.